On today's show, the All-NBA teams were just announced, and there is a Clipper on the list. Going to be talking about that. Maybe could he have been higher? Could he have been lower? What are fans saying about the selection? And then going to be talking about if we should have had any other All-NBA guys and what we believe, some people believe, the holdup is with Paul George's contract talks. Going to be talking about it all on today's Locked On Still in Cancun Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You are locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day. Your team every day. I'm your host, Vaziri, born and raised in LA and just finished my 19th season as a Clipper fan. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod and subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper, NBA, and NBA history content. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, where I want you to let me know what you think of the All-NBA selections. Of course, Kawhi Leonard is All-NBA. And then let me know if you think Paul George or James Harden had a case for the third team, what you think of them not making it. Just give me your thoughts on the selections. And if you even want to talk about guys from other teams, you can do that as well. And before we do that, this episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. All right, so let's talk about the news. Kawhi Leonard has made All-NBA second team. You got to love it. And that's not a sarcastic clap. You just don't get that many All-NBA players here in Clipperland. You know, we were lucky with Chris and Blake for several years. And then we have had Kawhi a couple of times. And then, you go back further, Elton Brand. So I know Bob McAdoo in the Buffalo days. I don't have the list off the top of my head. I know Law Murray, who we had on the podcast recently, put a list out. But I forget exactly all the names. But, DeAndre Jordan even one time. I love DJ to death, but I think that was because it was the weakest center era in NBA history. And that's not even like hating. It was legitimately the weakest center era in the history of basketball. Because if you remember, if you know basketball history, the center was the dominant position at first. It was the greats of the games in the beginning were mostly centers. So it just was. But Kawhi Leonard, man, second team All-NBA. You can't take that for granted as a Clipper fan. The only thing that sucks is it feels like we don't get to reap the benefits of having an All-NBA player because he's not healthy in the playoffs. So it really sucks, man. And for the people, I think he thoroughly deserves it. He definitely, to me, does not deserve first team, but I would have had him on the second team over the third. The third team guys were Tyrese Halliburton. I think Tyrese Halliburton's an awesome young player. No way would I have him over Kawhi Leonard with the way he was playing. Kawhi played 68 games, 24 points per game, 6 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals and a block on 52.5, 42, 88.5 splits. And here's the thing that people don't get. Kawhi Leonard is the most consistent player on the Clippers, and he is probably the most consistent defender as well. I don't think Zubac plays bad defense a lot, but I think there are certain there are certain players that can expose that Zoo is very largely a drop defender. There is no scheme for Kawhi defensively. What you do with Kawhi is keep him far away from the action as possible. And so it's Kawhi Leonard's job, because he's playing more off ball, to just be alert, to be a good help defender. And I'll tell you, man, there's no secret as to why Kawhi in his prime, in his defensive prime, I should say, was one of the best wing defenders we've ever seen, because the guy just has what I call a defensive antenna. He really takes pride in that end of the floor on a nightly basis. So when I see people trying to talk about, Booker should have been second team or LeBron should have been second team. Look, I can't speak as much for Booker because I don't watch the Suns all the time, but I heard from Suns fans and I saw in the playoffs that defensively he was not the same this year. And for anybody that's saying Booker's never been a good defender, that is false. He's been a very solid defender since Monty Williams was his coach, but this year with the playmaking increase, I think he just got a little lazy and he just got a little tired and got, complacent on that end of the floor. That being said, he's never been better than Kawhi defensively. He would never be that in his life. LeBron is one guy who I watch every night because he's here in LA and I watch him on local television. Anthony Davis completely deserved to be second team. I got no gripes with that. LeBron should be third team. Kawhi should be higher than him. All these crying Laker fans and LeBron apologist fanboys are saying that he should be over Kawhi Leonard because he averaged more assists and a little bit more points. It's just all the point, rebound, assist argument. That's what it is with them, which LeBron has always been a monster of. But what you're not accounting for is defense. 1 out of every 3 games, and that's just kind of a rough estimation, but 1 out of every 3 games, LeBron does not care on defense. He's been doing this for a while, for years, to conserve his body for the long haul. He is 39 years old. It's not normal for him to put in the same defensive effort as he once did or as a Kawhi Leonard. But even when Kawhi and LeBron were this, let's see, LeBron, when he was 32, that would be 2016 Bron, right? 2016-17 season, because his birthday is in the end of the year. So even then he was taking it easy defensively because the East was weak, so he could get away with it. I watched that. LeBron was my favorite player at the time, which I know it's hard to believe now, but Kawhi Leonard is not that. He just takes more pride defensively. Granted, LeBron does more offensively, but I think a lot of the stuff LeBron does, he chooses to do sometimes. Like, he loves having the ball. Kawhi Leonard is one of those guys. Here's the ultimate argument for me, and any Clipper fan that watches us will agree. Kawhi Leonard, there are so many games that the stats don't do him justice. He always has a good floor because he always plays good defense for the 99% of the time. LeBron has a habit, and Westbrook and Harden at times have been this way throughout their careers as well. The common denominator is having the ball a lot, but where the stats look better than the performance. And I think Kawhi Leonard is so often on the other end of the spectrum, and LeBron is on the other end of the spectrum. And that's not to knock LeBron's year. I think you can argue he should have been second team, but we had a better record than them, and they're going to have 2 second-teamers and we don't have any. That's just nonsense to me. Kawhi Leonard was great in the regular season. People are going to let the fact that he was healthy, that he wasn't healthy in the playoffs, cloud them from reality that this guy had his best regular season as a Clipper due to health, 68 games played. I mean, his efficiency was crazy. And the defense is not shown in that statistical breakdown. It's just not. And that's half the game. I understand if people value offense more, but just ignore it completely and say, I saw some people commenting Kawhi defense arguments in 2024, and those are very much people that do not watch the Clippers. Because nobody is saying that Kawhi Leonard guards the best players anymore, because he does not. But if you watch Kawhi Leonard versus LeBron in low man help, in just help in general, Kawhi's way more engaged defensively, and it's not even close. And I'm not even saying that to be a biased guy. I'm the guy that wants to blow this up. So for me to come in here and defend Kawhi, it's real. I'm being genuinely honest here. You have to find a couple of guys. I think there's one of my boys over on Twitter, and I've met him in real life. He has a great Laker platform. His name is Raj. Shout out to Raj. He watches Clipper games. He's such a basketball fan. So he doesn't watch the Clipper games with, I'm a Laker fan that hates the Clippers. He watches it like I watch Laker games. There's another basketball team in LA for local that I don't have to pay money for, get League Pass to watch. We're blessed in Los Angeles to have 2 teams. I've always enjoyed this, that we have 2 teams I can watch one every night. Obviously, one night I have no rooting interest. Then the other night I'm nervous and on pins and needles. Not anymore, but when I was a kid especially. But the reason I bring up Raj as an example is because I think he's one of the few Laker fans that truly watches the Clippers because he genuinely watches basketball. But a lot of these arguments are made in bad faith. I watch both. And I'm going to tell you that if you want to talk about who the best defender in the city of Los Angeles was this year, it's Anthony Davis by a country mile. It's not even close. Not to say that Zubac and Kawhi didn't have good defensive years, but Anthony Davis deserves that second-team selection. Kawhi Leonard absolutely deserves that second-team selection. Who else was on that third team? Sabonis. You could argue that Jaylen Brown could have made it over him. Moral of the story, Kawhi deserved it. LeBron did not deserve it over him. And Kawhi definitely shouldn't have been first team, so he's right where he belongs, with the Ant-Man, with Anthony Davis, with I don't even have Kevin Durant. Congratulations to Kevin Durant too for making it after, because he had the injury concerns as well, just like Kawhi, and he had a very good year. So Kawhi Leonard, second team All NBA. It's a great accomplishment, and he should be proud. It's just very unfortunate that we don't get to reap the benefits enough, unfortunately. But, oh, man, All NBA, you'll absolutely take it. And coming up, going to be talking about, by the way, so just the years that I just want to list out before we go to the break. Kawhi Leonard's years of All-NBA. 2015-16 was his first All-NBA team. He was first team. That was when the Spurs won, I believe, 67 games and only lost one game at home, which was tying the 1986 Boston Celtics record. And then he was All-NBA first team in 2017, where he was that was the season where I was like, oh my God, like, how has this guy become this good? And then 2019, because of 2018 was injured the whole year. 2019 All-NBA second team because he missed 22 games. And then 2020 was All-NBA second team for us. And then 2021 he was All-NBA first. So this is his third time in 5 years making an All-NBA team as a member of the Clippers. Like, the guy is, he's actually had some good regular seasons. It's just, God, playoffs. Coming up, though, going to be talking about if James Harden and Paul George could have had a case for third team. Going to be talking about that coming up. I got to tell you a little something about LinkedIn Jobs. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. I've never actually hired on LinkedIn, but I've been hired on LinkedIn. So it was successful for me. Maybe it'll be successful for you if you want to improve and find the right candidates for your business. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right. So, All NBA announced Kawhi Leonard. Congratulations. He has made the All NBA team. But, what about James Harden? What about Paul George? Did they have a claim to be on the All NBA team? Let's take a look at some of the voting. Now, Kawhi Leonard got just one first place vote for first team, 72 for second team, and then 21 for third. So altogether he was there. It's most of LeBron's votes for third team. And the reason why I'm bringing up LeBron so much is because that's who all the people were saying. Yeah, I'm looking at the comments right now. Kawhi over LeBron is very unserious for second team. Like, to me, that's, you have an unserious view of basketball, in my opinion, if you think that that's unserious. Okay, here we go. Other players receiving votes. Jaylen Brown was the closest to making the third team All-NBA with 50 third place votes, no first or second. But guess who was second to making it, our second cut? Paul George. I think that's Paul George over Maxey is ridiculous this season. I think that's crazy. James Harden not even being in the vicinity of this when Paul George was second. So basically, the voters thought that Paul George had the 17th best season of anybody in the NBA. That's insanity. And you know what? Paul George, we were very harsh on him at times, I will admit. But he averaged what? Let's see. His stats were actually pretty good, though. 23, 5, and 4. So only 1 point. See, the thing is, you look at it and you say, he played 74 games. That's major. 74 games, one less point than Kawhi, one less rebound than Kawhi, about the same in steals, blocks, assists. Efficiency, Kawhi shoots 5% better from the field. Three-pointers, they're only separated by 0.4, and Paul George shoots a better percentage. I have to say, Paul George's stats always average out pretty nice. He still had a good season. So I don't think it's crazy that he got third-place votes. I think that's fine. But, like, did Paul George have a better season than Maxey? That's nuts to me. No way he had a better season than Maxey. Maxey had to carry without Embiid out for so long. Like, imagine if Paul George didn't have Harden or Kawhi. It would be very hard for us to win games. Rudy Gobert was after Maxey. I think and it's crazy. I'll take Paul George over Rudy Gobert, but Rudy Gobert had a better season than him. Like, undoubtedly, he had a better season than him. Wemby, okay, I'm pumping the brakes there. Zion, I'll take Paul over that. Paolo Banchero, are you telling me that Paul George had a better season than Paolo Banchero? Because I don't think he did. People overrate Paul George's defense a lot. A lot. He does not always bring it on that end. I'm not even hating. I love Paul George, but he's getting a little too much love from the voters because people really think of him as a defender, and he's an inconsistent defender. Harden got no votes. Let me know what you guys think of that. Like, you didn't have any votes that we're seeing here. DeRozan got more votes than Harden. I think that's a little crazy. Not to take anything away from DeMar, but James Harden was arguably as good as Paul George, if not better, in this season. Because the stretch that we had, that 26-5, Harden was our second best player in that stretch. So, I don't know, man. That's so funny that they had Paul George as the 17th best player. I think, I'm not even going to say that the stats don't do him justice. I think the stats do him justice. I just think that, again, you're not seeing the defensive side of things, and I think Paul George has developed a reputation that he doesn't consistently uphold, and that's all effort. And it's interesting with Paul, like, he'll average out those numbers, but it's so volatile. Like, sometimes he'll just be on a heater, like those games, like that game against Chicago, where he was just ridiculous, and then he'll just go like 3 for 12, very consistently. So those are my thoughts on that. But coming up, speaking of Paul George, let's talk about what I believe could be holding up the contract negotiations. Going to be talking about that coming up. I got to tell you a little something about eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. All right, so going to be looking a little bit closer at that Clippers payroll that I discussed in the last episode. And I'll tell you something. I think the major holdup with Paul George is that he wants more than 3 years. And if he wants that fourth year to be like a player option in 27, 28, Jesus Christ. That's 4 years from now. Paul George would be 38 at that point. If he wants that, I don't know if he's going to get it. Because the thing is, Kawhi Leonard is signed up for 3 more years, right? The Clippers theoretically want all these contracts to expire at the same time. So if the 26-27 season is the end of the 2-1-3 era, that would be 8 years of 2-1-3. My God. We had 6 years of Lob City. This would be the 6th year of this. And it just feels like this has not been a thing for as long just because we saw Lob City play more together on the court. And, of course, there was 2 shortened seasons in the 2-1-3 era. But I think they want Paul George's contract to end when Kawhi's does. I think that's what the holdup is. And it'll be interesting to see how he, kind of go with James Harden and his contract negotiations. Do we want them to expire as well? 3-year deal. We'll see. Maybe the 4th one with a player option. But, I mean, the thing is, if Paul George does have, let's say, 3-year deal, 4-year deal, but the 4th is a player option the season after Kawhi contract expires. I mean, it's just so hard predicting these things because, you're looking in the future. I mean, if Kawhi has another couple injuries, is he going to retire? I don't know. He's going to want to play out that contract, though. $50 million is nothing to just walk away from. But I don't want to make an adjustment like, oh, well, the Clippers are going to blow it up in 2027. Like, who knows? They could hit the reset button earlier. All I know is that I think Paul George, the contract negotiations are being held up because the Clippers are clearly not trying to give him a max. That's been made very clear. They don't want to give him a max. I don't think they want to give him as much as Kawhi. So the next step is the years. And I think that they want he and Kawhi to end at the same time. So Paul George, a reminder, he has that player option for $49 million. By the way, oh my God, it's actually fitting that I mentioned this. Guess who I saw leaving work on Thursday? I'm walking from work, and all of a sudden I turn to my right, and PJ Tucker's just sitting there eating a pizza by himself. It was so fucking funny. Oh my God. It was so funny. I don't feel that bad. That's a rare moment. That's never going to happen again. Law Murray cussed a lot when he came on, so we're going to make a pass for me on that one time. Okay, you didn't hear that. Anyway, but it was so funny. Just PJ by himself, and I was like, yo, PJ Tucker, like, I saw you, I met you when I was a kid, like 11 years ago in Phoenix, and you were the boy, it always stuck with me. He was like, oh, really? And I said, yeah. I said, I'm a huge Clipper fan, actually, so it's cool having you on the squad, even though it was weird because, like, I love PJ Tucker, actually. I've always mentioned this. I do like PJ Tucker because of the experience I have with him as a kid. This is my second time meeting him, but I don't necessarily want him on the team right now. So it was kind of awkward because, like, I couldn't say anything positive about the way he played. And imagine if it was like Amir Coffey, like, yo, Amir, like, we drafted you. I'm fully in support of you, bro. Like, I didn't want to interrupt PJ Tucker and be like, yo, I used to love you back in the day, but now I don't mess with you anymore. Like, I used to love your game back in the day when you were young. Like, I didn't want to come off rude. So, and he just had a mouthful of pizza, so I was just trying to leave him alone. But, man, he did not look like a pleasant guy like the last time I saw him. I don't know if that's because it's 11 years later, or, he just didn't want to be talked to, or it's just a bad day at the office. But also, like, I don't know, maybe he's just not as happy with what's going on in his career right now. And when a guy brings up his basketball career, which is anybody that sees him out and comes up to him, he's probably like, man, I ain't trying to talk about. He's trying to, I don't know. Who knows? He's just an intimidating guy. But that was pretty funny. Right outside my work. And no, if you ask me where I saw him, I'm not going to answer that question because there's too many weirdos out here. Let's just say it was on the west side of Los Angeles, where a lot of our players live, and where I work. Anyway, so yeah, that's my kind of conclusion about Paul George. I think that's the holdup right there. And I don't remember who it was, but someone said that Paul George is definitely going to take the money. He's looking for the money. I don't know. I'm still very skeptical he's going to leave Los Angeles to go to another team, especially ice cold Philadelphia. Although I think that's a perfect move for him to try to win a ring, a better chance than we have. Because Maxey and Embiid, for all Embiid getting injured in the playoffs, at least he's still on his 2 feet playing on the court in every game. But anyway, that's for me in this one, guys. Let me know what you thought of the episode. Let me know what you thought of the All-NBA selection for Kawhi Leonard. And, of course, Paul George and James Harden not being considered. I mean, no, Paul George was clearly considered. James Harden, not at all. Let me know what you guys think of that. And then the PG contract holdup. Do you think what I said makes sense? And keep giving me episode suggestions. I still haven't read the comments, and I will be doing that. I have a very long drive where I won't be driving on Saturday, so maybe I'll just scroll through the comments while I have a couple hours to kill. So anyway, let me know, and I'm not going to reveal, I guess, what episodes are coming next. Also, if you want guests, Clipper people, guests, not players, but like people that are more attainable to get, throw in some requests for guests. So remember, Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you subscribe on Apple Podcasts, follow on Spotify, and then subscribe on YouTube and hit the notification bell so you know every single time we post a video. All things LA Clippers. Nobody does Clippers shows as much as we do here on Locked On. And, of course, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod and subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, where I'm talking about every playoff game for the rest of the season. The age-old proverb continues, go Clippers.